All right, the warden has filed a request for me to paint this bathroom. So I'm going to share with you a few techniques that I like to use when I'm doing a full repaint of a small space. I'm going to pop this door off the hinges since it's just going to be in my way. I'll remove the hinges from the door jamb and the door itself. Some guys may just tape off around the hinges, but I'm not that guy. Sorry, that was my fake Chicago accent. Geez, who lives here? These baseboards are disgusting. I'm guessing this is pretty typical for any house that's 17 years old and never had a repaint. So I'm going to get some extra brownie points with the warden by cleaning these up myself. Don't forget to clean behind the toilet. Since this is my house, I probably wouldn't even put down a tarp, but I'll do it just for the video. These little step stools are great for a small space like this. While those baseboards are drying, I'm going to prepare the ceiling for paint. I like working out of one of these guys. I think they call it a handy pail, but it's great because I could fit a 6-inch mini roller in here and I could paint this whole ceiling in a jiffy. Normally I'd use some flat white CHB from Sherwin-Williams, but I don't have any on hand, so I had to run to the hardware store and buy a quart of some of this flat white ceiling paint. Paid like $28 for this stuff. It's getting a little pricey these days. This is the roller handle I'm going to use. I think the official name is just mini roller handle. So this is a 6-inch mini roller here. Yes, ladies, it's 6 inches. I know it looks smaller. It's a 1/2-inch nap. I prefer 3/4, but it's what I got today. So I'm going to load this guy up really good here with some paint before I get started. The great thing about this bucket is I could just hold it while I'm painting the ceiling and there's no need for me to get off the step stool. Since I'm doing a full repaint here, I'm going to get in those corners real good and paint the ceiling paint onto the walls. Most of the time I don't even need a brush. I just roll right into the corner. You might get a bump or some bubbles in the corner. You could smooth it out with a brush or the roller if you're a pro. So I really like these 6-inch microfiber mini rollers from Wiz. They hold a lot of paint. They don't leave any fibers behind, and they clean up really good if you want to reuse them. This guy's helpful if you have some taller ceilings in your bathroom. If you need to take a break to check TikTok, just cover your bucket of paint with a wet rag so it doesn't dry out. So I got a few spots here where the caulk has cracked over the years. So I'm going to hit that with some acrylic latex painter's caulk. While that caulk is drying, let's go ahead and clean up the ceiling paint. I like to take the roller and stick it in some aluminum foil, just like this. You could leave it here and use it again, or you could pull the roller off the handle and store it for a few days, or you could just throw the roller away. I like to remove all the door hardware to give my customer the highest quality finish I can. You could tape around all this stuff, but most people will be able to tell that you did a lazy job. I'll set the door up on some blocks of wood so I don't get paint all over my tarp. And I'll give the door a good wiperoo to get all that dust off there. I really like this paint from Sherwin-Williams. They call it cashmere, so it sounds fancy. Here's another little trick. I'll take a piece of aluminum foil, actually double this up, stick it in a little roller pan like this. Really saves on the cleanup because I'll just throw it away. I'm going to use a 4-inch mini roller for the trim work. Conveniently, I already have a roller in here from the last time I used this paint. So on your trim work, I recommend using some sort of eggshell or maybe even a semi-gloss. But don't use a flat paint like I did on the ceiling, because it's just going to get all fingered up and you're going to spend a lot of time cleaning it and it won't ever come clean. The thing is about these paints now is there's all these different names: semi-gloss, low sheen, eggshell, soft gloss, and I can't keep up with the different finishes. So really you should do a test to see what finish you want on your trim work or your walls or your ceiling. But I don't recommend ever going with a gloss paint that you would see like on a car, because your walls in your house are not perfect and you're going to see every little detail if you paint with a gloss paint. Since this is a repaint, I'll be able to get away with just one coat here on this door. I just try to make sure I don't have any big globs anywhere, no lines. Take my time and roll everything out nice and smooth. All right, that side's all done. I'm just going to flip it around here, and second verse, same as the first. While that door is drying, it's onto the baseboards. I'm going to tape off along the floor, and then I'm going to roll the paint right onto the wall. As I roll along the floor here, I try not to load up the roller with too much paint because I don't want it to ooze out underneath the tape onto the floor. Painting behind the toilet is always my favorite part. This is why I use a mini roller with no extension with working in a small space. A 9-inch roller and then a pole. You don't even have room to turn around in here. Also, the 9-inch roller is going to use a ton of paint just to get the roller wet, and I only use about a half a quart to paint that whole ceiling. It's time to clean up for the day. So I'm going to take this mini roller and stick it back into the gallon of paint so I can use it again. And then I'm just going to ball up this aluminum foil here with a little bit of paint left in it and throw that away. So we're going to let the ceiling and the trim work dry overnight, and we'll be back tomorrow to paint the walls. I recommend pulling up the tape while the paint is still wet. If you end up with some bleed through here, you could just take your putty knife and put a wet rag over it so you don't scratch up the floor and scrape it off. Look at that, perfect, just like me. We're looking really good here for tomorrow. Got the baseboards done, got the ceiling done, and you can click on this video here to see how I'm going to do the walls.